Welcome back, it's Ryzen, and today I'm going to be reviewing the final arc of Hell's Paradise. This video is of course a finale of a series of Hell's Paradise arc reviews that I have done on the channel, so if you missed the others, I have linked them in the description and I highly recommend you watch all of those reviews before you watch this one. If you've watched my other reviews and you aren't subscribed, please consider doing so as it helps the channel tremendously, and you might as well leave a like while you're down there. With all that out of the way, let's get to talking about the final arc of Hell's Paradise. This arc is called the Departure Arc and it covers chapters 111 through 126. And the beginning of this arc is boring as hell. I know this is probably going to make me come off as a meathead who doesn't appreciate story, but I just don't care anymore. The whole conversation with the two kids talking kind of felt like a chore to read, and even the characters were getting bored of the conversation. I don't really mind dialogue heavy chapters at all, but the content of the conversation was just so uninteresting. Ryan or Rien or Ryujin Jaka, whatever her name was not really compelling at all to learn about, and the whole plot twist where she was actually trying to revive her husband was just really underwhelming. After this part, we get into what really is the meat and potatoes of this arc, and that is the final fight. Overall, I would say that this fight was great and it absolutely lived up to the hype that was building up to it. Seeing all of the characters working together and fighting against Rien was just really cool to watch, and the choreography and art were incredible as always. There were characters like Gabimaru and Shion who pretty much never failed to disappoint me, and that was of course the case with this fight as well, but there's one other character who just really blew my socks off and made me love them. And that's Sagiri. Yeah, that's right, I spent the entire series not liking Sagiri, and I even called her entire character just a waste of time, but her role in this battle was really everything I wanted and more from her character. And the way she nearly killed Gabimaru in an attempt to save him was such a ballsy move, and it's something that the Sagiri we knew in the beginning of this series would never think to do, and wouldn't even be able to do. The growth shown from that single moment really put the events of the entire island into perspective, and it made Sagiri look like a total badass. The resulting fight between Rien and Gabimaru and Sagiri was initially hilarious, but quickly turned into one of the coolest sequences in the series where, once again, Sagiri really stole the spotlight. I now get why people in the comments have told me that they like Sagiri, and I'm officially no longer sleeping on her character. Now, as for the end of the fight, I really enjoyed Gabimaru's hesitation to destroy Rien's husband, and that moment perfectly encapsulated the complete abandonment of Gabimaru the Empty. Shugen's heartless destruction of it, however, was a great contrast between their morality, and it really showed that contrary to how society views the two, the death row convict has much more empathy than one would assume. Rien then comes back, however, and Jika states that no power can possibly defeat her, but then when asked by Rien why he didn't destroy her husband, Gabimaru tells her that he sympathized with her situation, and Rien loses her will to live, crumbling to dust. Now, I wasn't really a fan of this at first, but when I was rereading the arc for the video, I actually kind of enjoyed this. I think going into the fight expecting some crazy ultimate attack to be the finisher kind of lessened the emotional impact of the ending, and when I reread it knowing what would happen, it felt much more appropriate. I'm going to quickly compare this to a Demon Slayer fight, so skip to the time on screen if you don't want the Demon Slayer manga to be spoiled for you, but this fight really reminded me of the Upper One fight, and how Upper One probably could have killed all the Slayers he was fighting had he not given up on his will to live. But after seeing his own complete lack of humanity, he realized how far he had strayed off of his path, and he wanted his life to end. And I think that this example of such an incredibly important fight ending in such a way is much better, because Upper One had an amazing and interesting backstory, and his fate was very befitting of his character, and really befitting of Demon Slayer's main theme of humanity's value as a whole. This was not really the case in Hell's Paradise though, because Rien was very underdeveloped, and we had no real investment in her character or backstory prior to this arc. To those that skipped my Demon Slayer analogy, I basically just said that Rien's death didn't really hit as hard because she's underdeveloped. Which brings me to one of my main overarching criticisms of the entire series, which is that the Lord Tenzin as individuals are very weak characters, and I know that this is the intention behind them because they kind of function as one, but since they're all named and they all do different things, it would have been really nice to have each of them properly fleshed out, or at least be different enough from each other to tell them apart. I'm not really going to go into any other overarching criticisms, however, because I've already gone over them in more detail in my other reviews. As for the very end of the story, I really loved it, and I thought it was 100% wholesome. I actually enjoy how the author was pretty much leading us on the entire time to expect almost everyone to die, and he definitely delivered on some of the deaths, but overall, this happy ending was a very unexpected surprise. I really loved everything that happened, I just couldn't have asked for a better ending. And I also guess I'm just a wizard. I mean, I predicted Shugen's death, Jika doing something unexpected, and the off-screen killing of the Stone Village chief, and I am actually glad that these events happened for the sake of the story. The only thing I was confused about, however, was how Jika, being shown as an absolutely terrible person, pretty much got away with everything. Like, are we gonna forget that he not only encouraged Chobei to kill Shugen, but Sagiri as well? Jika is a pure hedonistic scumbag that didn't at all deserve the happy ending that he got, but hey, at least he didn't actually do anything terrible. And meeting Yui and seeing her interact with Gabimaru was just as heartwarming as we all hoped it would be. And with that, this review series is coming to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and if you watched every single video, please do let me know in the comments, because it is just truly amazing to think that somebody would actually watch all of these. And as for an overall rating of Hell's Paradise, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. I think it is a great read. It does have some minor issues, but I think overall, in terms of the themes that it tackled and the characters that it explored, it did a fantastic job. As for my next review series, I was actually going to do Record of Ragnarok, but I ended up binge reading the whole thing last weekend, so I guess just expect normal videos on that rather than arc reviews. I actually received a request in an earlier arc review to review Tokyo Revengers, so I think I'll just wait till the anime is finished and review season 1 and then dive into the manga arcs afterwards if season 1 piques my interest. Let me know any other anime or manga I should review in the comment section. Please do like the video, as it really does help a small channel like mine. If you've watched these reviews and you enjoy the type of content I produce on this channel, please consider subscribing to help me reach my current goal of 250. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.